Welcome, everyone. We are going to wait just a few more minutes before we get started, and thank you for joining us. All right, we can go ahead and get started. So welcome, everyone. This is our second Facebook Live. So welcome back to those who watched last week as we learned about some mental health and anxiety tips. And this week, we are going to be talking about employment topics. So if you have any questions you want answered, feel free to comment or message us privately. And when our two financial coaches, Michael Clement and Mariana Monterrubio, are done talking with us, they will be happy to answer them for you. So I'm going to tell you guys just a little bit about Family Houston in case we have some new faces tonight. We were founded in 1904 in the wake of the smallpox epidemic, and we have joined with Houston in recovering from disasters for 116 years. We have 3 core programs: case management, mental health, and financial stability. We work with children, individuals, families, veterans, senior citizens, and couples. We help them with applying for benefits and finding financial assistance, giving them tools to handle the everyday stressors in life, and coaching them to meet their financial goals, whether that be paying off debt, buying a house, or many other things. If you have any questions about our services or want to know how we can help you, please message us. You can direct message us on Facebook, or you can email us at family@familyhouston.org. Now I am going to hand it over to Michael to get started.
So basically, we wanted to have this Facebook presentation live because a lot of people are in the same situation. They're looking for work or they're trying to apply for unemployment insurance benefits. So we thought it'd be helpful if Mariana and myself talked about and answered some questions relating to those issues. So basically tonight, what we're going to be covering is how to apply for unemployment insurance benefits. So 4 different things. Unemployment insurance benefits. We're going to be talking about how to prepare for your job search, doing your resume, doing a perfect application, cover letters, and list of professional references. So that is a big thing, preparing for your job search. Mariana's going to go into more details about that. We're going to be talking about registering for Workforce Solutions and how you can look at that website and how many jobs they have open, at least here in Texas. We do realize some people are possibly viewing from outside of Texas. Some of it's going to be related to applying for work and unemployment in Texas, but in general, it'll cover anybody looking for work. And if you live in Texas, we're going to talk about registering for work in Texas. And if you live in Houston or near Houston, it would be great if you could apply for the United Way Thrive program. So there are 3 agencies. There's one in Brookshire, one in Fort Bend County and Stafford, and then one in Bay Area where Mariana and I work. So it'd be great. We're going to give you a link of how to apply later to that program. And anybody, I say apply, but it's really anybody can receive assistance through our program. So those are, we have 3 of 20 Thrive centers. So we usually help people who live outside of Houston. So,
all right, thank you,
yeah.
Michael. I'm going to ask you the first question. So, with unemployment at an all-time high right now, what are some tips you can give people who are having trouble filing for unemployment?
So basically, yeah, it's a really scary situation. People are out of work. You know, a lot of people are not working and they're furloughed or they're possibly laid off permanently. So everybody that is in that situation and some other situations that I'm going to talk about should apply immediately for unemployment benefits. So as far as applying for unemployment benefits online in Texas, you want to go to the twc.texas.gov website. It's open 24 hours, 7 days a week, and try to apply there at like 1, maybe 2 o'clock in the morning. I've heard people get into the system and they have better luck early in the morning because during the day it's difficult to get in. So basically, apply for unemployment benefits online and only call the center, the TWC center, if you're having a trouble applying online. Like if you can't figure out your password or you have some complication that they've denied you, it'd be good like for you to call. But try first online and see if you can apply. The number for the teleserve phone number for unemployment benefits in Texas is 1-800-558-8321. So like I said, call that number if you're having a problem with the online system. So if you were working before the COVID-19 stay-at-home event and now you're not working, you should apply. Even if you think that you might not be eligible, at least you should try. Apply online, even if you're not sure that you could receive the unemployment insurance benefits. So there's some changes, some different things that are going to include a lot of people that weren't included in normal unemployment before. For example, people who are self-employed, if you have your own business, if you are a gig worker, so you're working like day labor or just temporary jobs, you can apply for unemployment insurance benefits at this time. And then, of course, regularly, full-time workers and part-time workers are also eligible, as always. Some additional benefits are for college students. So full-time college students, since they're going to waive the check, they're going to waive the system where you have to turn in like a job log. And if you're working full-time, it'd be difficult to go to college. And so they usually cut people off if they're going to college. They don't let them get unemployment insurance benefits. So even if you're a college student, apply. You're probably not going to get cut off. Another thing that they've waived is checking the person's situation at their job. So before, it would take a long time. It would take maybe 4 to 6 weeks to apply for unemployment insurance benefits. People are getting it a lot quicker now. And one of the reasons is because they've waived that research period. There's like a 10-day research period where TWC will check out and see if you're really eligible through your employer. And they've waived that. They have so many millions of people applying. They have waived all the research they do on you before they give you the benefits. And in addition to those requirements, you're going to be able to get a lot more in unemployment insurance benefits. Like if you usually get here in Texas, we get about 50% of your normal monthly salary. Now you're going to be able to get like $600 per week in addition to that 50%. So it's a really good benefit. It's going to help people pay their bills, pay their rent, pay their mortgage. It's a very big assistant. So hopefully everybody will be able to get that.
Thank you, Michael. All right, Mariana, the next question is for you. What are some things that you should definitely have on your resume?
Well, first of all, good evening, Shelly, and thank you for having us tonight. What I encourage people to have, or what I suggest people to have on their resumes for sure, definitely, is having a summary of qualifications. It used to be where we would have what's called an objective. An objective pretty much informed the employer what it was that we needed or what we were looking for. Times have changed. And so a summary of qualifications is actually your headliner. It's the point that's letting the employer know why they should hire you, basically. It's letting them know what your skill sets are, what your experience, and what qualifications do you have at the forefront. So we want to make sure that that is something that you definitely have on your resume, along with transferable skills. Now, transferable skills are any skill sets that you may have that pertain to the position that you're applying for. And so you definitely want to make sure that you're listing those skill sets. Like, are you proficient in Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access? Do you have any of the IT A+ certifications? Do you have customer service skills, communication skills? Are you bilingual? Those are definitely skill sets that are considered transferable skills that you want to make sure that you have on that resume. Also, professional experience. List your professional experience. I know most people have the tendency to not list certain jobs because perhaps it doesn't pertain to what they're looking for. But even from those positions, you still have skill sets that you can include that can be carried over. So you want to make sure that you're trying to avoid any gaps in work history, because at the end of the day, when you're going on that interview, you're still going to have to answer, why do you have gaps on your resume? Also, elaborate on your resume. Oftentimes I'll have individuals that have maybe one word. It'll say, well, I just answer phones, especially if there's someone that was a receptionist or is a receptionist, and they'll say, oh, well, I just answer phone and I just greet people. Well, that may be true. However, there's so much more that you do at the, in that position. Not only are you greeting individuals coming into the facility, but you're the main point of contact. You're answering those questions. You're, transferring those phone calls to the right department. You're also the person that's communicating most of the information. You are the face of that company, right? So you want to make sure that you're elaborating your information and don't sell yourself short, because you are marketing yourself. I always say, put on your sales hat. When you're going on these interviews or when you're doing a resume, put on that sales hat. Why? Because we're all salesmen. We're all selling ourselves. And the only person that can best market you is you, right? Because you're the one that did the job. So we want to make sure that those are on there. Now, if you're going to list education, so let's say perhaps you went to University of Houston and you didn't complete for whatever reason, right? We can still list it, but we need to make sure that we're putting on there, how many credit hours did you complete? Oftentimes, folks will want to put it on there because they want to demonstrate that they've had some, some form of education, right? But at the same time, we don't want to deceive the employer into having them believe or think that we've got a degree when perhaps you don't, but you do have those college credit hours. So still list those things, but also let the potential employer know, how do you qualify for that position, even though you don't have that degree, right? So we want to make sure that we're not, deceiving anyone. Also, volunteer experience. I tell individuals all the time, if you have gaps in job history for whatever reason, don't dismiss putting volunteer experience on there. Most of us relate work experience with paid experience. And that's not always the case. There is a lot of work when it comes to volunteering. I'll always ask them, did you organize a fundraiser? Did you have to serve as a secretary? Did you have to be the treasurer? Did you have to count the money? Did you have to market? Those are all skill sets. Those are those transferable skill sets that I was talking about earlier that you want to include on the resume. So don't sell yourself short when it comes to the volunteer time.
Thank you, Mariana. That is great information that I think we can all be using right now, especially during this time. So the next question we have is from Michael. And Michael, for you, I have a question about, a lot of people are out of work right now and are nervous trying to find a job. What kind of advice can you give them?
So basically, it's good to do a job search right now. There are a lot of employers hiring right now. So if you look on the Work in Texas website, they have like 500,000 jobs in Texas available. There's a lot of employers that are hiring, and I know a lot of people are kind of nervous about going out and working at this time. So you have to weigh your options. It has to be related to your situation. If you're really in need of a job, there are jobs out there. You know, unfortunately, they do have some contact with the public. Working at Walmart, working at DoorDash, you know, delivering food, working at Amazon. But there are some employers that are hiring, like Pizza Hut, and there are other agencies like that, and companies like that that hire people that work at home. They take the orders for people. So not all of the jobs are, you know, in contact with the public. And the other thing on that is that you don't have to put this on your resume. You know, if it's a job, if you're not working right now and you're not getting paid, and you don't have any unemployment insurance benefits, it's important to do like any job that you can, just to be able to pay your rent and utilities. So, you know, there are employers hiring. Go to the Work in Texas website of Workforce Solutions, and you can apply online there. Um, so Work in Texas is great. They have all those job leads. You can set up your profile. They will send you job leads. And in addition, you can do your resume, and they ask you all the questions, and then they set it up like an actual resume. They have a resume builder. So it's a new thing on their site, and they did a good job. It actually looks more like a resume than it did before. So that's another benefit of their website. Also check the Community Job Bank of the United Way. So United Way Houston has this Community Job Bank. They have all kinds of jobs, from the director of agencies down to cleaners and people at the front desk. Just any position that you can think at a social service agency. Community Job Bank has those jobs, and you can see new jobs every day. Don't wait until this COVID-19 stay-at-home order picks up, or they let people go out and start working again. Don't wait for that. You can be, like Mariana said, preparing your resume. You can be doing a lot of things to prepare for your job search, and you can be applying for jobs at this time. It takes time for employers to look through resumes, to set up interviews. Maybe by the time they get your resume and they look at your resume and they decide that they want to interview you, that could be a month from now. So it's really good to be applying right now. And so the other thing is, you know, some people will be like getting unemployment insurance benefits. If you start working, it can kind of stop those. So just be careful the jobs you do accept. Make sure that it's a full-time permanent job. Don't take something and have it end in like a week or so, because there's a lot of employers hiring that are temporary jobs. A lot of the jobs these days during the stay-at-home order that they're hiring for are temporary jobs. So just be careful. Don't take a temporary job that you're going to have to leave and be unemployed again. So be careful of that.
Thank you, Michael. All right, Mariana, you are up again. So, Mariana, my question for you is, what are some skills someone could learn right now that will help them with their job in the future?
Some skills that individuals can learn right now, or maybe even refresh on, are those Microsoft Word. Most clients that have come into our agency lack Microsoft Word, Excel, or PowerPoint skill sets. You can actually go to youtube.com and take some courses on there. I've had individuals that have taken QuickBooks, that have taken other short-term courses, and get some refresher skills on there. And so I encourage individuals to, brush up on those skill sets. I'll also have individuals tell me that they, can't type fast. And so I'll say, go to typingtest.com. It's free. And you can just go on there and type, practice constantly on there, and pick up your typing speed. So those are just some skill sets that can be learned as well. and also some certification courses. Probably right now is a good time to, find out what certification courses are out there.
Great. And kind of to add on to that, do you think now could be a good time to transition into a new career field with some of those skills that we're going to be learning or touching up on?
Definitely. Through this pandemic, we're learning that, we're going to probably go more and more into, working from home or more virtual type of jobs out there. So we definitely want to consider, what jobs would be the kind of work that you would want to have that would allow the opportunity to maybe work remotely in the event that something like this were to happen. We're praying it doesn't, but that it does, right? But yes, I mean, again, we at Thrive work with different partner agencies that offer short-term certifications at no cost to low cost. And so we definitely want to encourage you to look into that. Visit your local workforce offices. Here in Texas, we have Workforce Solutions. Other states have also similar programs out there that will right now assist to paying for short-term certifications, right? Because a lot of us don't have that time to go back to school and dedicate, to a 4-year degree. So now we're looking at short-term certification courses that can be offered. So I would definitely encourage those. I would also figure out what jobs are hot jobs right now, right? That is going to allow you that opportunity to work remotely, and so I would definitely think about what that would look like for you. I would also consider if your employer even has some short-term certifications. I know oftentimes as a, continuing education, some employers will offer free short-term certifications as well. So those are some things that I would probably say you may want to consider when transitioning into a new position. Right now is the time. Many people have that downtime. Start exploring those options. Start deciding, can I invest right now 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe even 8 weeks, because those short-term certifications do not take long at all. And like I said, a lot of them are free.
That is some great advice. Thank you, Mariana. Michael, I have a question. Do you think that having a LinkedIn profile is valuable? And if you do, can you maybe tell us a little bit about why?
So yes, I wanted to add a little bit to what Mariana had said, because it's really interesting in this time. It's like it's a really difficult time, a really terrible thing that's happening right now, but there are things that we are learning. So, through these meetings, through like Zoom and other like the Facebook Live, it's interesting. I've never done these things before, but I have seen people and talked to people that I haven't talked to in years. I've seen family, nieces and nephews that I haven't talked to and seen in years, and like seen their kids. So that's interesting. That's kind of a nice thing that we're far apart, but we are together. And it's like calling and speaking with clients. We've been talking with people over the phone, just seeing what are the ways that we can help people. So we've been calling a lot of people, and now that people are not like at work, we've been getting a hold of a lot of people because they need assistance. But it's just been really good to touch base with those people that when they're working, it's not as easy to talk. But as far as LinkedIn, so LinkedIn is a great way to network. And make sure that if you have a LinkedIn page, that you have it updated. A lot of people will keep a LinkedIn page, but that when they start looking for work, they forget to update it, or they don't have it complete. There's this section at the top. It's like kind of like a skills or qualification section, but it's like a professional profile. And on LinkedIn, they call it the About section. So that's a professional spot on your LinkedIn profile that you talk about in detail, like in a paragraph style. What are your skills? What are your related skills to what you're looking for? So that's a good thing to work on. If you don't have that set up, it's kind of new on LinkedIn. It would be good to work on that. LinkedIn is good if your job requires computer skills. I mean, not for every job you need to have a LinkedIn profile, but if you do use a computer at work, it's a good way to show that you're technologically savvy. One thing you can do also is in LinkedIn, if you click on your picture or you click on the like the place where you edit, I would like click on my name or my picture, and then it allows you to edit your profile. You go to the contact info, and then you just copy and paste the URL on your LinkedIn onto your resume. If you have a LinkedIn page, that's a great thing. Resumes are sent electronically. The employer can just click on that. It makes you look like you really know what you're doing on the computer. And one other thing is use your LinkedIn contacts. So like LinkedIn has this great thing where if you went to college, they'll put the people who you went to college with on your LinkedIn page. They'll send you contacts, and I've looked up different employers, and people that I went to college with are on those employers' sites that they're working there. So you can, it's just a base of people that you can network with. I know that a person, if I emailed them through LinkedIn, I'd be able to speak with somebody probably easily because they've seen that I went to the same college that they did. So that's another thing. It's just a great networking tool, LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. All right, Mariana, I have a question about virtual interviews, since that's kind of where we're at these days. Can you give us some tips on how to prepare for those?
Absolutely. As we have been having Zoom meetings and, meeting with each other on a, regular basis, we've learned that there could be a lot of noise, our dogs, our kids, whatever the case may be, right? But if you're going on an interview and it has to be a virtual interview, then you definitely want to go ahead and find a quiet place, something, somewhere private that's well lit, free from any type of distractions or interruptions. You want to make sure that your internet is stable. You want to make sure that your computer audio is working. So you want to make sure that you do a test run before you even get started on that interview. Test your computer's webcam. Make sure that it's positioned, and that you have that camera where it needs to be. That the person that's interviewing you can actually see your face, or that it's not too dark, right? You also want to make sure that you close any unnecessary web browser tabs or applications. The one thing that you don't want to do is be distracted, by something else, right? So you want to make sure that you close those things and just focus on that interview. Dress professionally. I know most of us that are working at home, we've gotten a little bit comfortable in our attire, but for an interview, dress appropriately as if you would if you were going in person. You want to make sure that your clothes are not too flashy, the colors are not too loud, so you want to make sure that you're still presentable, that you're still professional, even on going on these virtual interviews. Have a pen and paper. Even in person, when I have clients that are going and interviewing, I'll tell them, it's okay to take a pen and paper and jot down some notes, right? Because perhaps you may have some questions that you want to ask later. One of those questions are always, do you have any questions for me? And oftentimes we're like, no, I don't have any questions. And then we leave and we're like, oh man, I should have asked this question, right? So make sure that you have a pen and paper. Make sure you've got something to, write down some notes with, even virtually. It's okay to do that. Listen to the person, nod and smile, engage, always continuing to maintain that eye contact. They could still see you, so you want to make sure that you're still engaging, that you still have eye contact, and that you're not, being distracted by something else or looking at your phone. Matter of fact, you shouldn't even have your phone. Because even in an actual interview, you shouldn't even have your phone. You should be able to, turn it off, especially for that moment. So you want to make sure, again, you get rid of all those distractions. Listening, hand gestures when appropriate. It's okay to, gesture with your hand. I know, being a Latina, I use my hands a lot. We use our hands a lot, right? And so we want to make sure that, that it's we use them at an appropriate time. And also, if you have to have your cell phone then for whatever reason, maybe there's an emergency, at least put it on silent, right? We want, like I said, we want to make sure that we're mindful of those things. We want to make sure that even if we were going on an interview, that we still practice those same type of techniques, even virtually.
Awesome. And I have one more question. So someone has now
Sure.
found a job thanks to y'all's great tips, has made it through the virtual interview, and they are now being offered the job. Is this an appropriate time where they can ask for a raise or negotiate their salary or raise? And if it is, how can they go about this?
Absolutely. You know, during this time, I think I've seen more and more people discover hidden talents that they've had. And so we want to make sure that, you know, we recognize our value, that we recognize our worth when it comes to the job market, right? Most of us, when we go on interviews, we're too afraid to, you know, share what type of pay we should be asking for. So one of the things that I always suggest when meeting with clients is onetonline.org. Onetonline.org is a great tool to have. It allows you to see what the job market is paying. It will not only from state, but nationally as well. Within the state, it'll show you what the job market is paying in the counties. And so you'll be able to see a big difference. You know, like I always say, Harris County compared to Galveston County, same type of work, same type of position, but Harris County offers a little bit more pay than, you know, Galveston County. You also want to determine, you know, your expenses as well. You know, are you going to be able to meet those needs? So you want to make sure that not only do you know what the job market is paying, that you know your worth, and you know exactly how much it is that you need in order to maintain. I will tell you that in the Clear Lake area where both Mike and I office, there alone, you would have to literally have to make $17 an hour just to survive. And that's just still living. So definitely right now is a good time to learn about those things. Glassdoor.com, Indeed.com also have ways to find out what have certain companies, you know, offer as far as salary is concerned. Those are tools that I always tell individuals, although I use Glassdoor and Indeed to help me navigate and find out who's hiring or what jobs are out there, but I don't use them. And so many people will say, well, what do you mean you use it, but you don't use it? What I mean by that is I use it as a tool. You know, it's a way for me to better prepare myself to find out, again, when you're preparing that resume, what skill sets do I need to be adding on my resume? But at the same time, what have certain companies, what have they been paying? You know, and it's surprising to find out that same position, you know, different cities are getting paid differently. And so we want to be mindful of, you know, learning that. When I tell people, when they ask about salary range, they'll only put one number. And I was like, no, what is that salary range? What is the minimum that you can actually survive on? And then based on the job market, what is it that you could be asking for? So, you know, those are things that, again, Mike and I work with our clients with. We teach them, we educate them, and we provide these tools so that they know. Also, more women are now starting to ask for a raise, you know, or negotiate their salaries, where in the past they wouldn't. And now they're competing just as much as men are today, right? And so we're seeing more and more of that. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask for more money. You know, demonstrate to your current employer what skill sets have you gained, and what could you be doing differently? You know, have them even teach you or show you or train you, cross-train you in order to be able to ask for that raise.
Well, my boss better watch out. I'm going to go and ask for a raise now with those great tips. those are all the questions I have. I have put both of you up here now. I've seen one question come in from the audience. Jake has asked, what is the ideal length of a resume, and what should we prioritize if we have a long work history?
I'll take that one. You know, we get that question all the time. I'm always told that I have to have a one-page resume, and how am I going to fit all of my information on a one-page resume? And ideally, it would be good to have just a one-page resume, but let's be realistic. There's a little bit more that we need to share with that employer. Right now, I'm not saying it needs to be 3, 4, 5 pages, but what I am saying is that it's okay to have up to a 2-page resume, as long as the information on that resume is relevant to the position that you're applying for, or that the skill sets are relevant when you're applying for a position, even if it's different type of positions, but that you have those skill sets on there. It used to be where in the past, when you found employment, you would be with that same company for many, many, many years, 10, 15 years, even up to 30 years. And that is not always the case anymore. I think the average that a person will stay at a company now is anywhere from 2.5 to 3 years, and then they move to a different, company, or they go somewhere else, right? So, or they get promoted. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we're capturing just enough information. Again, it's all going to boil down to, when you're looking at the job description of the position that you're applying for, is your resume informing that potential employer that you know how to do those things? And if that's not the case, and you have more than what they're asking for, then maybe you need to reduce it. And so that's where Mike and I come in. I like to say we like to help identify any potential red flags, But again, to answer that question, 1 page is the ideal thing, but it's okay to have 2 pages. And Mike, I don't know if you want to add a little bit more to that.
So I always tell people, if you know how to do a resume, you have your resume with you already. We'll take a look at it, and we'll give suggestions. It's just suggestions. You don't have to follow and completely change up your resume if you like it the way it is. But we give our suggestions. We've seen probably thousands of resumes, so we have a good idea of what a good looking resume, professional look resume is. So like Mariana said, a lot of times it's a 2-page, but I wouldn't go over that unless a person's maybe a doctor or a lawyer. They have a CV, curriculum vitae. They need like 4 or 5 pages. But most people with 2 pages, that's good.
Thank you, guys. Do either of you have anything else you want to add to the audience? I haven't seen any other questions come in.
I did. I just wanted to say some general things. So, Mariana and I work as employment coaches, but there's a lot of other services that are available at the United Way and Bay Area, and the office in Stafford and Brookshire. So we have a resource center. People can use the computers. We have it set up now that people can go in and be separated from each other. They don't have to sit right next to each other. So that's still open. We're working from home. We can, meet with new people. If you know of anybody that's looking for work or needs any assistance with employment or financial stability, like working on their credit score or their budgeting, they can meet with our financial coach, Chris. And then Evelyn is a person who works for people helping get basic needs. Like if the person needs food or rent assistance, there are some agencies, they have some extra assistance now that she can refer them to. So there's just a lot of other resources available. And we do assist people. Sometimes people need to study for something to improve their job or to get some skills. Sometimes we can pay for at least part of a training. We can pay maybe a book, work-related kind of things we can assist people with.
Thank you, Mike. Mariana, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yes, I did. I wanted to add too, now that, some of us have been working remotely from home, UnitedWayHouston.org is another great source to go on to. especially if you're wanting to look for employment. We have, a sign-in sheet that's online that you could go in and type your information and let us know what services it is that you're inquiring about. I always tell people, Thrive is one of those sources that many people don't know about. And, as Michael mentioned before, we are one program with 3 services: financial coaching, employment coaching, and resource supports. We want to make sure that we are incorporating, all of those things for our clients to make sure that we are meeting their needs in all aspects, right? And to help them establish any goal sets that they have. And we are starting to meet with clients more and more, by way of telephone, or we're starting to introduce Zoom as well, which is going to be good practice for them. As they're meeting with us, that's going to be good practice because we do offer mock interviewing. And so what better way to conduct mock interviewing now through Zoom meetings, right? And so I encourage people to go on there. If you are someone that is looking for positions in the nonprofit field, UnitedWayHouston.org's job bank too has a lot of wonderful positions. As a matter of fact, United Way Fort Bend has a position that's open right now. They're looking for a center manager. And so, these are opportunities. We may think that there are no job opportunities right now, but there are so many companies right now that are actually hiring and would like to have people who can, balance working from home and, in an office. And so I would say, if you're interested in nonprofit work, UnitedWayHouston.org is a good way to go and get that started. And mind you, that is in the Harris County area. Hey, but if you're looking to travel and come to Texas, welcome. Apply for those positions. We would love to have you. But again, UnitedWayHouston.org, and then also visiting FamilyHouston.org. We want to encourage individuals to visit Family Houston as well. Family Houston has a lot of great resources to help individuals. They have financial coaching and counseling services, for individuals and families. So again, take advantage of these tools. Talk to us, email us, let us know what it is that you are looking for right now, and we are here to serve you.
And I had a couple of things to add, just to add to what Mariana said. That's a great idea. Like Zoom, like I had never used these things before. Zoom is great, what we're doing right now, Facebook Live. First time I've done this. First one I saw was like a couple of days ago. So it's great practice. A lot of people have never done an interview on the computer before. So that's, it's kind of like nerve-wracking and very different. It's not the same as being in person. So it's good to get that practice. And just wanted to say, one of our viewers put up the link if you would like to get some assistance through our Bay Area Center as far as employment, financial stability, or resource supports. The link was put up there by one of our viewers. So you can go right directly there. You have to fill out a little survey, little questionnaire, but then you'll get a phone call and get assistance through our program.
All right, thank you guys so much for being with us tonight and sharing all that wonderful information that I'm sure many of us can take and put into practice right now.
Thank you. Thank you for having us, Shelley.
Thank you.
That is all we have for you guys tonight. So thank you all for tuning in. Next week, we're going to be back talking about veteran services, some of the struggles that we're seeing with veterans in our community, as well as resources that are available to them. So we hope you guys will tune in. And until then, I hope you all stay safe and have a good weekend. Thank you.